Good morning. My name is Jay Amundson. This is my wife.
Sharlene.
And we're here to talk about marriage ministry. A little bit about us. We've been married for 47 years, going on 48. And I like to tell everybody we are crazy in love. And you might ask, well, how is that possible after that many years? Don't you get bored? Aren't you, hasn't things leveled out or flattened out? And I would say, no, we're crazy in love. But I have to start at the beginning. I like to tell people we knew each other since birth.
Well, actually, that's a bit of a stretch. But our moms did go to high school together and we're best friends. We went to elementary school, and I've had a crush on him since I was 10.
Of course, I didn't know she had a crush on me, and I wouldn't know what to do with it at the time if I had known. But regardless, later in our young life, we did get together, we got married, and like most young couples, we were clueless. And in those days, there was never, or it didn't seem like there was anything that we could turn to look for help on understanding what it was to be married, how we were supposed to deal with our spouse, how we were supposed to communicate, how we were supposed to care for each other. We just had to figure it out for ourselves, and usually that didn't end well. And so during the course of our marriage, we went through many things that almost every couple goes through. And even to the point where we almost divorced twice. In fact, there was a time when Sharlene visited a pastor that she needed.
I think I should tell that story.
Okay, you tell the story.
So anyway, we were still newly married. I think our son might have been a couple years old, and we were just having a hard time. And so I went to see him, and we were thinking about getting a divorce. At least I was at the time. And I told him that. And one of the things Pastor Cook told me was he was very empathetic. He sat back in the chair with a big smile, and he said, "That's part of God's glue." We didn't have the money at the time. And that was what I told him. And I've always remembered that as how interesting it was that God used that in our experience to make the marriage stay together. And we just stuck it out. We stuck it out for a lot of years when sometimes it wasn't always easy.
There were times in our marriage when I went through a period of really severe depression. And during that time, I was really a lousy husband. I really was dominant and hurtful to my family emotionally. And even during that time, my wife did something I had no idea she was doing. And it was, again, part of God's plan, part of God's glue to keep our marriage together.
Some friends of ours we were in a care group with had been having marital problems also. And they volunteered that something that had really worked well for them was a little book called Pray the Word. And so they had given me a copy of it, and I would just go prayer walking, and I would just pray it over him every day, professing he was all these wonderful things that I wasn't seeing in the natural yet, but just believing for them. And it really changes your point of view.
It was 2 years that she prayed the word over me when I didn't deserve one word of it. And at sometime near the end of that, I began to come out of it, and we began to find ways of reconciliation and restoring. And she did it simply by praying the word over me. There were other times in our marriage that we struggled, like many couples. There were times of health issues that were very, very difficult.
Well, we had 4 miscarriages and a baby that died at birth of birth defects. And so that was certainly one of the problems. We also, we do have one biological son, and we have a daughter that's adopted. So we have an experience with adoption too.
So we're here to tell you this because we know that in the church, that marriages are under attack. The enemy wants to destroy marriages because if he can destroy your marriage, he can destroy the church. And we're here to tell you that there is hope, there is a way, there is a place that you can come and receive hope and help that you might be craving for, but just don't know how to get there.
Even though we've talked about sticking it out, even for a long period of time, it can still be difficult in marriage. You know, you still struggle. For example,
this morning, you know, we think we've got it all figured out, how to talk to each other, how to work out our problems, how to settle arguments or differences. And even after all these years, we found ourselves this morning falling into a place we'd been many times. And she said something that I didn't really care to hear. I said something that raised it to another level. She said something, and then I said something that I destroyed my wife with my words. And I hurt her deeply. And we've learned that, you know, when we do have these arguments or differences, that we try to make up quickly. And so within a half hour or so, I was there to try to tell her I was sorry and make up, but usually she's the first one to say she's sorry. I usually mope about and make her pay for a week or two. But today was different, because here we were coming to church to give a message about marriage and about the joys of marriage, and here we were hurting each other. And so she went off to an appointment, disappointed and hurt, and I sat in a chair and just thought, wow, how do we get here so quickly when we know better? And so I sat down and I began to think, how can I make this all go away? And I just prayed, and I couldn't figure out what to do until finally I decided I just needed to say something to her in writing. I'd hurt her with my words, and I needed to heal her with my words. I began to write her some notes. It's the only way I could convey to her truly what my heart was feeling. And so I started off kind of lighthearted, and I'm going to read you almost everything I said. You'll have to read between the lines on a couple of things. But the first thing I said was, maybe I'll kiss you passionately and help you get over this. And then I said, let's go out to lunch today. Sharlene always likes to go out to lunch or dinner anywhere, and I knew it would cheer her up. And then I said, after the videotape that we're going to do, maybe we'll go to an antique shop and go shopping. I hate antique shops. She loves it. And then I said, tonight I'm going to give you a massage. And then I said, next week we could go off on a cruise to Northern Europe. Yeah, I know. And then I said, well, that part I can't say, because that's about what we were arguing about. And then after that I said, and then everything will be perfect. And a little heart. Well, this was just our way of reconciling. I needed to speak love and forgiveness and understanding into my words to her. And she responded immediately. And there's no other way to put it. This is how God created men and women to live together. We need to talk to each other, heal each other with our words, and not destroy each other. So folks, we really want to invite you to become a participant in the marriage ministry. There's a mentee program. Maybe Sharlene will tell you more about it.
There's a marriage mentoring program, and it's put on by Dare to Be Different. They have kind of aligned themselves with Love and Respect, and it's about 10 weeks. We're really excited. We're going through training right now, and there's about 4 other couples that are going through training also. And it's very biblically based. There's a lot of scriptures for every kind of situation a couple finds themselves in. Anyway, I just know it'll be a really big blessing. We've seen it work really well in the past, and we just really encourage you, if you know of someone or you yourself would be benefited, we encourage you to become part of the marriage ministry at the British Fellowship. Thank you.
Thank you.